I am Dr.J.Sathya, Associate Professor of Economics, Sri Sharada College for Women, Salem 16. Today we are going to discuss the topic Theory of Comparative Cost in terms of money. The classical theory of comparative cost has been explained in terms of labor cost. But this is an unrealistic assumption because the actual trade relations are not based on barter system, but they are based in terms of money. Therefore, Professor Taussig has explained the theory of comparative cost in money terms with the help of hypothetical example. Before going into analysis, first let us see the assumptions of the model. The two countries, namely America and Germany, are assumed to have entered into trade with each other. Both the countries produce both the commodities that are wheat and linen. There is a given level of money wages in the two countries in a common currency. The daily wage in America is assumed to be $1.5 and in Germany it is assumed to be $1. And there are absolute differences in money wages between the two countries, and it is assumed to have an equilibrium in the balance of payment between the two countries. In case of any disequilibrium in the balance of payment, gold will flow from the deficit to the surplus country, thereby changing the prices and money income in both the countries till the equilibrium is restored. Let us see the model. Based on this assumption, the classical theory of international trade is expressed in money terms with this example. In America, 10 days of labor is assumed to produce 20 units of wheat, and the same 10 days of labor in America is assumed to produce 20 units of linen. In Germany, 10 days of labor is assumed to produce 10 units of wheat, and 10 days of labor in Germany is assumed to produce 15 units of linen. So the above example shows that America is having absolute advantage over Germany in the production of both the commodities, because America is able to produce more units of both wheat and linen when compared to Germany. On the other hand, Germany is having comparative disadvantage in the production of both the commodities. But Germany is having a less comparative disadvantage in the production of linen than in wheat. So when both the countries enter into trade with each other, America will specialize in wheat and America will export wheat to Germany. And Germany will specialize in linen and Germany will export linen to America. So in international trade, America will specialize in wheat and Germany will specialize in linen. To convert this real cost example to money cost, we assume that the daily money wage in America is $1.5 and in Germany it is $1. On the basis, we get the monetary position that is explained in this table. This table shows the comparative cost explained in terms of money. First column reveals the two countries that have entered into trade with each other, that is America and Germany. The second column reveals the daily money wages in both the countries. In America, it is assumed to be $1.5. In Germany, it is $1. And the next column is the total wages for 10 days. And the fourth column is total output for 10 days of labor. And the last one is money cost or price per unit of output expressed in dollars. With this table, it is clear that the money cost or price of producing 1 unit of wheat in America is $0.75. In Germany, it is $1. Therefore, the money cost or price of producing 1 unit is lower in America. Therefore, America will specialize in the production of wheat and export wheat to Germany. On the other hand, the price per unit of linen in America is $0.75. In Germany, it is $0.66. Therefore, the price per unit of linen is lower in Germany. Therefore, Germany will export linen to America. But in this analysis, the money wages in the two countries have been arbitrarily chosen. But this is no criticism, because under our assumption, the ratio of money wages between the two countries must be between an upper limit and a lower limit. It is only the choice of one or other ratios within this limits which is arbitrary. These limits are not arbitrarily chosen, but they are fixed by the comparative efficiency of labor in each country. Therefore, the limit for ratio of money wages is equal to the comparative efficiency of labor in each country. We have assumed that the daily wage in Germany is $1. Then the daily wage in America should not exceed $2. It cannot be more than double the Germany's wage. This upper limit is fixed by the American real cost advantage in the production of wheat, which is 2:1. That is 20 units of wheat in America is to 10 units of wheat in Germany. If the American wages exceeds $2, then the American price per unit for both wheat and linen would be $1. In such a situation, the export of wheat by America would be unprofitable and would stop because 1 unit of wheat already cost $1 in Germany. Therefore, America will no longer import linen from Germany. As a result, the American balance of payment will become unfavorable. Gold will flow out to Germany and the prices and wages would fall in America and rise in Germany. Similarly, the daily wage in America cannot fall below $1.33. Therefore, the lower limit is $1.33. It cannot be less than 4/3 of German wage. It cannot be less than 4/3 of German wage. This lower limit is fixed by the American real cost advantage in the production of linen, which is 4:3. That is, 20 units of linen in America is to 15 units of linen in Germany. Therefore, if the America's wage fall below $1.33, then the price per unit of linen of both the countries will become $0.66. Therefore, the trade in linen would get stopped. But America would continue to export wheat to Germany because the wheat would cost $0.66 in America, but in Germany it is $1. As a result, Germany's balance of payment would become adverse. Gold will flow out of Germany to America, and prices and wages would start falling in Germany and rising in America. Ultimately, the equilibrium in the balance of payment will be restored. But it cannot be said that from the real cost ratios with definiteness, what will be the limits within which the ratio of wages in the two countries will be. The Ricardian theory of comparative cost failed to answer this question. It was J.S. Mill who pointed out that the exact ratio is determined by the relative demands for the two commodities, which implies the total value of each country's export must equal to the total value of imports. Thank you. In continuation of the refinement of the comparative cost theory in terms of money costs, now we are going to discuss the refinement of the comparative cost theory under the variable cost of production. The classical theory of comparative cost is based on the assumption of the constant cost or constant returns. But this is an unrealistic assumption because the real world is characterized either by the increasing cost or diminishing cost. Haberler has shown with the help of his theory of opportunity cost that law of comparative cost is also valid under increasing opportunity cost. But the specialization is incomplete due to the decreasing returns. So far as trade under decreasing cost is concerned, there has been a controversy between Haberler and Graham. First, let us see Graham's argument, then we will discuss Haberler's criticism. Graham does not agree with the classical view that when the production is subject to law of decreasing cost, specialization will increase the volume of production of the trading countries. In Graham's view, he has also proved with the help of a arithmetical example that under decreasing cost, the specialization between the two countries will diminish the volume of production instead of increasing the volume of production and bring a considerable loss to one of the trading countries. A country encouraged by the comparative cost situation specializes in the increasing cost industry and gives up the decreasing cost industry. In order to prove this, he takes the case in which a country is encouraged by the comparative cost situation, specializes in the increasing cost industry and gives up the decreasing cost industry. Under such situation, the volume of production of the country will diminish than without trade. Let us see the Graham's arithmetical example. In his example, he has taken two countries, namely England and America. Both the countries produce both the commodities, that is wheat and watches. Now, let us suppose that before the international trade, the exchange ratio is 1:1. That is, 40 units of wheat are exchanged for 40 units of watches. 40 units of wheat is exchanged for 40 units of watches in England. And in America, 40 units of wheat is exchanged for 37 units of watches in America. So from this example, it is clear that America is enjoying comparative advantage in the production of wheat and England is enjoying comparative advantage in the production of watches. In these two category of industries, the production of wheat is supposed to be an increasing cost industry and watches is the decreasing cost industry in America. But in England, both the goods are subjected to constant cost. In America only, the wheat is increasing cost and the watch industry is facing decreasing cost. But in England, both the goods are subjected to constant cost industry. And the international exchange ratio is 40 units of wheat to 40 units of watches, that is 1:1. So it is profitable for America to shift their resources from the production of watches to wheat. Suppose the production of watches in America is reduced by 37 units and the resources so released from this production of watches to produce an additional unit of wheat will be 37,500, which are less than 40,000 units of wheat, which is already produced due to the operation of increasing cost. These 37,500 wheats again will be exchanged for 37,500 units of watches, English watches, since the exchange ratio is 1:1. But the reduction in the production of watches in America increases its average cost of production. Now suppose that only 36 units of watches can be manufactured with the same cost as were 37 watches before the first transfer of resources. So let the production of watches be reduced further by 36,000 units and the resources so released are used for the production of wheat. So now the wheat production is 36,200 units. As the exchange ratio is 1:1, this 36,200 units of wheat can be exchanged for 36,200 units of English watches. So from this arithmetical example, now it is clear that through trade, America is able to get 73,700 units of watches. That is 37,500 plus 36,200 watches. Earlier, when America has not entered into trade, domestically, it is able to produce 74,000 units of watches. That is 37,000 plus 37,000. So there will be the loss of 300 watches after trade. As America has entered into trade with England, there will be the loss of 300 watches that is equal to 74,000 minus 73,700. 74,000 is the domestic production of watches. After trade, it is able to produce only 73,700 watches. So there will be the loss of 300 watches. This process will go on and on, that will continue, and the loss will become greater and greater until the American watch industry is completely replaced by the English watch industry. And now America will completely specializes only in the production of wheat, and England will produce only watch. So what will be concluded is, Graham repudiates the classical view that when the production is subject to law of decreasing cost, specialization will increase the volume of production of the trading countries. Rather, his example has shown that the volume of production of the country producing under decreasing cost will diminish rather than increasing after trade. So the policy implication is that the industry under decreasing cost can survive only if they are protected by a tariff. In free trade, the decreasing cost industry will be completely replaced. So it should be temporarily protected by a tariff if they want to survive. Let us see the criticisms of the Graham's view. These criticisms are given by Haberler. First criticism. The assumption of decreasing cost is invalid according to Haberler. Graham's conclusion is valid only, according to Haberler, the Graham conclusion is valid only if assumptions that cost decrease continuously as production expands and the cost will increase continuously as the production contracts in the decreasing cost industry are acceptable. But Graham failed to realize that the basis of international trade is comparative cost difference rather than decreasing cost. That is, the international trade between the two countries is due to the differences in the comparative cost in between the two, not because of the decreasing cost. So the assumption of decreasing cost, which can be taken as a basis for international trade, is criticized by Haberler. And the next criticism is, decreasing cost is completely incompatible with perfect competition. Graham's theory is based on both this assumption, that is perfect competition as well as decreasing cost. But both these concepts, that is perfect competition and decreasing cost, are quite incompatible. Then the next criticism is beneficial for monopolist. Due to this decreasing cost, the industry is already a monopoly. The monopolists have a full control over the supply. So the decreasing cost may benefit the monopolist and the country from trade. Then external economies, the concept of external economies is vague and indefinite. Knight examines the case of decreasing cost. According to Knight, the reason for the decreasing cost is due to external economies. Economies that are external to a firm or internal to a industry. However, there may be some firm in other industry for which the benefit of external economies is so large that it may emerge as a monopoly firm in the industry. Thus, again, the Graham's view is falsified because it is based on the assumption of perfect competition. According to Haberler, external economies are somewhat vague and indeterminate in nature. Therefore, it is difficult to estimate their extent of value. Further, they partly relate to factors which cannot be appropriated by the entrepreneurs, such as the capacities of skilled persons. The next criticism is Graham has failed to distinguish clearly between the average and marginal relationship. According to Weiner, the Graham analysis is in terms of average cost. If he had dealt with this problem in terms of marginal cost and marginal returns for both the industries, he could not have obtained the same results. Then incomplete analysis. Graham's assumption that watchmaking and wheat growing in England are subject to constant returns does not fully explain his thesis of trade under decreasing cost. He does not analyze the trade relation between the two countries when the two goods are producing under the same law of production in England as well as in America. Therefore, this analysis is incomplete because in England, he has taken that both the industries are subject to constant returns. But in America, he has taken that one industry is subject to decreasing cost and another industry is subject to increasing cost. In such a situation, his analysis seems to be incomplete. Then, next criticism is Graham fails to realize that the basis of trade is differences in comparative cost and not the decreasing cost, which causes the differences in comparative cost. So it may be concluded that despite these much of criticisms given by Haberler, economists have developed Graham's theory by depicting diagrammatically and analyzing the case when one commodity is produced under decreasing cost and the another one under increasing cost. Thank you.